Chris Petrie here. Welcome everybody. Thanks for coming by. Hey, we're gonna have a great time. This is the finished painting. We're looking at it right now. It's a beautiful kind of a seascape type feel to it, and we have a beautiful figure, a woman in a white dress, flowing dress, and the wind's blowing and the breeze. Beautiful across the painting. We have a nice light sky here. Let's zoom in a little bit. So we'll kind of zoom in here. So that's going to be our painting. We're going to show you exactly how to kind of lay out this figure in this rectangle, in this square, in our picture frame. We're going to cover all the colors you're going to use. We're going to cover the techniques and the methods that we're going to use too as we go, so that you get a nice, beautiful variation of color throughout your painting. A nice sky wash too at the end. We're going to cover the beautiful sky wash we do with some wet on wet and some alla prima painting, and of course this painting is mostly alla prima. We're going to go right in there and just start painting once we're done with the pencil sketch, and I'll cover the pencil sketch too. The pencil sketch, we're going to show you exactly how to line up the lines. We're going to use a little bit of plastic acetate. We'll cover that too. Some plastic to use some Sharpie marker and lay out some lines so that you can start your figure and get a really good figure going with your pencil work first, and then once you get that done, then you're zipping right over into your painting, your watercolor painting and your washes. Okay, so we'll be right back. We'll get started. Again, thanks so much for coming by, for joining on my channel. All you that are new to my channel, thanks so much for subscribing and coming by and leaving great comments, and I look forward to working with all of you as we go forward, and we'll have lots of fun here, and we'll continue to improve on our paintings most of all. Okay, we'll be right back. Hello everyone, it's Chris Petrie here. Welcome everybody, come on in. Hey, we're having fun here. We're doing some more figure painting. I got a lot of great comments from everybody saying, hey, yeah, we want to see more figure painting. So there's quite a few of you out there that want to see some figure painting and more of it, and that's great too, because it challenges everybody. Hey, let's face it, we're all, students here. We're always trying to learn, grow, get better. I'm included in that, I'm with you right along with you here. I've got a lot of work to do on my figure work and a lot of work in general, but I just keep pushing on, and you watch my videos, you see me year after year, month after month, year after year. I'm just plugging away at it, getting better. And so I hope you're doing the same back where you are. So grab some coffee, a cup of tea, a glass of iced tea, whatever you like, some water, get your favorite beverage, settle down here. We're gonna have a fun time. So we're gonna do some figure work here. What I'm going to do is first, we'll have the picture here. You saw the finished painting, so that's always a plus. You'll see my finished painting for the start, and then you can actually work right from that if you want. But if you want to just follow the whole video through one time, check everything out first. That's the best way to go. Follow the whole video through one time, and then once you're done following it through, then you can come back a second time and then you work on it. So if you're going to work along with me, fine. If you decide you don't like this type of video, that's fine. You can move on to the next video next week, or I might make another video this week. I might make 2 or 3 in a weekend or so. So you just paint the ones you like, have fun with it, and even if you're just watching, it's great because you're going to learn just about the techniques and processes of watercolor. That's the main thing. Doesn't matter what subject matter you're painting. You're going to use the same methods, the same techniques, the same processes. It doesn't matter what subject matter. Obviously, when you're drawing, that's another matter. When you're drawing, you have to practice all your different, whatever you like to draw. If you like to draw landscapes, then you practice on that. If you want to start doing more figure work, well, then you practice more on figures. You take your time, go out, you find magazines, clippings from newspapers, go online, check out photos, art books, whatever it is. You just start practicing your figures. You start drawing them one at a time, and sure enough, after a while, you'll get better at it, and you'll wind up really learning a lot by just practicing as you go. That's all it is, putting in the time, and you'll be set. So let's look at this here. We have a nice figure here along the beach. It's a woman in a white dress, very interesting. We're going to do something similar to this. I'm not saying I'm going to do this exact same picture here, but I'll keep close to this. And then what we'll do is now we're going to kind of show how we're going to take some plastic. I'm using acetate. It's made by Duralar. So I already had some markings on here. Let's see if we can clean this up a little bit. I'll take some nail polish remover and see if I can. I better be careful on this. Let me put something down here. There we go. So a little nail polish remover when you're using the Duralar acetate, Mylar. It's called Mylar actually as well. You could call it, it's called Mylar by Duralar. You could take your black Sharpie marker and just take it, use a little bit of a nail polish remover, and you can remove the black Sharpie, and you use the piece over and over again. You can use it all, you know, you can use it probably hundreds of times actually. It's almost, this is a really durable material here. So let's do that. We have our plastic now. We got it all prepped, ready to go. We cleaned off our old magic marker. Then we're going to take our Sharpie plastic. We're going to take a little bit of painter's tape. So what we'll do is we'll take this here, put the phone on this here. We'll take the tape, put the tape on the phone like so, just like that, and then we'll just get a little bit of some lines here. So here we have the head, and we have the hat about there, curve of the neck here, and then the front of the body, and then the knee over here like that. And then we'll just do maybe the hat up here, the arm. So you're just seeing I'm doing some very light tracing, just like that. And I think that's all we really need. So we'll set this across from us. We'll put this down on the paper, and this should be fine. So now we're going to say, where are we going to place our figure on our rectangle? First off, let's take our pencil here. I'm going to make this at home. You might have a difficult time seeing my tape. I've taped around the border of my watercolor paper. This is Arches satin paper, so it's very smooth. Arches satin paper. It's a gummed block. You can use any watercolor paper. There we go. So we have our rectangle. Actually, it's more of a square. Then we'll take our figure. Maybe we'll put our figure back here. And maybe we'll put it 2/3 of the way across. So this would be halfway. That might be good. You take your halfway point. So we take our halfway point of the square or rectangle, like that. And then maybe we put the front of the figure on the center line, so it's not quite center, it's a little bit off center. That looks better, like that. So then we'll do that. Okay, then we're going to lift up here, and we'll just start kind of tracing the lines down a little bit, just to get a rough estimate of where we're going to be with our woman here. She's our figure. So just going to do that. And you can see I'm just curving around and doing the... I think I'm going to minimize this. Again, I'm still working on my figures. I'm still trying to learn how to draw the figure, the human form. You know, there's so many curves and lines and very intricate parts to the human form. It takes a long time, and I am working on it. But here I'm going to make it more simple, and I'm just going to take the dress, and I'm going to make the dress cover all the legs. So I'm not going to draw any legs here. I'm just going to draw a dress all the way down to the, maybe to the sand area, like so. And here's the gown. Maybe I'll make it like that. So it's more of a gown type thing. Just to keep it simple again. I'm trying to simplify this. You saw the picture that I just had on my phone. And I just got the basic outlines. Like that. There we go. There you have it. Now we have our figure. And like I said, I'm going to try to even simplify it more than this. And okay, like that. This might be a little bit different. Let's make a little bit of a different angle for this hat. This hat's more on this type of an angle. I think I had it close, but this looks a little better. Okay, and always remember your and you can always change things around. Let me change things around a little bit. I'm just having a little bit of a tough time with these angles. Let me see if I can do a little bit, change this around a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to make this a little different. Let me make this, I'm just going to make this a little different. Forgive me if I go off the I'm going to take the arm and make the arm on the other side of the body because I was having a hard time drawing the arm and the hand over here on the front of the form. So let me just, it's a little easier just to draw the arm on the other side, I feel. So let me do that. I draw the arm on the other side. Then this side, I'm going to draw the I'll draw the arm on this side. So I'll draw the arm on this side a little bit easier, right? Instead of that weird angle. So I'll draw the left arm over here with a little bit of shadow over here maybe. And again, use a little bit of the eraser if you have to, and don't worry about it. I'm trying, and this here we're going to make a little more billowing here. We don't want to have it too straight. We want to have maybe this over here goes out a little bit here. So always have fun, enjoy, change some lines. So I'll do a little darker here so you can kind of see. I made a little change there. I made this dress billow out a little bit this way more. And then here we made the arm over here on the other side of the body. I hope you can see this. So I'm making the arm over here and the hand holding the hat. And the hair. So I'm going to make a little bit of hair there. And then the back of the dress here. There we go. And I hope you like that. This is looking okay. Now we've got the figure in. Let's do some background. Just some, let's say, do some ocean. So we're going to do some, this is maybe like a bay. So we'll just have some lines back here just to, and then maybe we'll have over here some distant hills. Some distant hills, some ocean water, and then maybe this is some sand over here and shoreline. So we'll make some sand and shoreline. We're not going to really make this a tremendously intricate and really extravagant painting. We're just going to try to have fun with this, get our figure in here, a beautiful woman here in a white dress, a white gown along the shore. And I hope you'll have fun with this. We're going to do a little bit at a time. We're not going to do non-stop here. We're going to take a break. Let me take a break. I'm going to get some shadow shapes in here. So I just add a little bit of shadow areas where I'm going to draw in a little bit of where I think I see some shadowing on the shoulder, a little bit underneath the by the midsection of the figure, and that looks pretty good. Maybe there's maybe I'll make the midsection a little bit thinner here, and then billow out a little bit like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then her hand is over here on the side of her dress. So I think we're looking good. All right, let's go with that. Let's stick with our pencil sketch, like so. And we'll get ready to paint next. So everybody take a break now. When you do a drawing, take your time. Take your time doing the drawing. Have fun with it. We're going to do a little more details. And let's do that. Let's take a break. Let's take a break now. We'll come back in just a few minutes, and we'll start to put in some washes on this figure, and you'll see that it's really going to come together really nicely. And again, this is a fun practice exercise. This is a small composition you're going to do. This is not a finished painting, although if it comes out great, make it a finished painting. Take it, put a mat on it, and put a frame around it, and call it a finished painting, and you have yourself a beautiful painting if it comes out great, you know? If it comes out okay and you think you need to work on it more, that's no problem. You can start another one. You can flip the paper over, your watercolor paper over, and start another one. Practice it 3 or 4 or 5 times, whatever you have to do. Key thing is keep practicing. That's all you have to do, and you'll have a fun time. So let's practice together. I'm practicing right now too as we're working together. So and thanks again for joining. And hey, I forgot to mention too, if you want to subscribe, right down here below on the right hand side, there's that little red subscribe button. If you hit subscribe, hey, you'll be with us all the time every week as we make our videos. You'll be following along. You're going to see our different subject matter. We have figures one week, we have boats the next, landscapes, seascapes, cityscapes, we do flowers, still life, we do every type of watercolor subject matter you can imagine, and it's all right here. So if you just stick with this channel, you're going to be set, and you just paint and practice along with us as you go. You'll be learning a lot of new information, techniques, methods, processes to watercolor that are going to really take your watercolors to the next level, and that's what I want. I want to see you get better and better, and I know many of you have made a lot of progress, and I know many of you leave your comments, and I want to thank you for that, because many of you have written and said, you know, that you really have made a lot of progress with your watercolors. So that's why you stick with me and us. We're all here together painting, having a great time, and I'll stop talking and we'll get to painting in just a few minutes. We'll just take a quick break. Okay, so we're back and we're gonna get started with our painting. We're doing a lovely figure along the ocean here, and this is a woman in a white dress, white gown, ocean, some mountains in the background, water, some shoreline here where she's standing. So we're gonna have some fun here. Let's start out. I have fresh clean water. So I have fresh clean water here. I'm gonna actually keep some tissue handy so I can take my brush and check some water off on the tissue. We always talk about that. And I think we're pretty good. We have our paints all set up here. My palette, my normal colors I use all the time. For many years I keep the same palette. You can check out my palette videos if you just type in my name, Chris Petri, CHRISPETRI, and then you type also the word palette in the YouTube search, and you hit enter. You'll see about maybe 10 videos I have on palettes. So I show you all the palettes I have, all the colors I use. I pretty much use the same colors constantly. And then once in a while I might add a new color, and I might just put it in a separate, I might take one of these little pans here and just a double stick tape it to my palette, and then use like an extra color if I might want to add a color to my existing colors that I have already, but I stick to the same colors pretty much all the time for many years now, 10 or more years. I think I've had the same colors in my palette for like 10 or more years. So really valuable to keep the same colors. You get really used to them, and then you just, when you're working, you don't even think about it. When you're painting, you're focusing on your painting and not on the colors, because you just go right, we go right automatically to our colors. Like, we're not even thinking about it. Kind of like in a car, when you're driving a car, you're kind of shifting and driving, turning, using your signals, hitting your brakes, hitting your gas. You don't even really think about it realistically. That's the same thing with painting. You kind of like, if you have the same palette all the time and the same colors, after a while you forget about that. You don't even realize it. You just know right where to go, where to get your colors, what colors you're using, and then it makes it a lot easier, because then you're kind of focusing more on the paint drying and the water where it is, and having to touch up a little bit or add a little more paint here or there. So you get to focus more on the painting when you don't have to worry too much about your palette colors. But if your palette is always changing and the colors are changing, then you're going to have a hard time concentrating more on the painting portion. Does that make sense? I hope that's something helpful, a tidbit of information for you that will help you with your concentration on your painting versus worrying about your palette so much. So keep that same palette going, and you'll have a fun time. And you add some colors if you want to. I'm not trying to be a stickler or be a fuddy-duddy about it, but you just want to make sure you try to keep your same colors in the same spot all the time. It really helps a lot. Okay, so now we're gonna we'll do the alla prima method here. And now the alla prima method is really simple. You're just basically gonna start with the darks first, and you're not really gonna be doing like light washes first and then going over with darker washes. With an alla prima method we're gonna do now, or we call that also the direct approach. You're just gonna go directly into the painting and start painting, and you're probably gonna start with your darkest areas first, and then just work around the painting, and you paint where you want to paint, move around the painting as you want to, and we'll see how that goes. So the first thing we'll do is we'll get some flesh tone for our figure, for the face. So I will use cadmium red with some yellow ochre. So I'm going to mix yellow ochre and cadmium red for my flesh color, and maybe a little bit of burnt sienna too. And also I rinse my brush off, dry it off on the tissue, and then I get some cerulean blue for the cooler, maybe some cooler color for the flesh tones. Maybe also we don't want to maybe have all just red flesh tones. Maybe we want to have some cools in there, so you can add that. You can also add a little bit of maybe olive green to the flesh tone if you want, and then some blue over here. Maybe we'll make some shadow colors, blue, cerulean blue and French ultramarine blue. All right, let's get started. Let's do the tap off the water off the brush, get the flesh tone, and let's do the face here. We can go into the hair a little bit there. And this is kind of like a profile picture, or profile more. So we're going to have the nose here a little bit. We don't have to get too concerned. This is kind of, maybe we'll use some brown, burnt umber for the hair, burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, and burnt umber for the hair. And we can mix and mingle that a little bit there for the hair. And we don't want to get too fussy. And then some shadowing under the neck area here, just a little bit. And then some shadowing under here too, under the hat. And just blend around the colors. We'll make more of a... We'll do some details later. Let's just leave it like this. Just, we could leave that. And you can also tap up a little bit of paint. if you feel it went too dark, but I think it's okay. It'll dry lighter. Always remember that watercolor dries lighter. And then we're going to do some more. Maybe for the hat we'll use some raw umber and French ultramarine blue for the underside of the hat here. Maybe a little bit of red, maybe some alizarin crimson too. Maybe we'll make some alizarin crimson for the hat here. So now we're just going to do the face and the hat. Really simple. We want to leave some lights too in the hat. We don't want to go too dark. The light looks like it's coming from the front. Let's make our little light insignia. We usually make our light insignia. So let's say the light's coming from pretty much up top. So this is like noontime. So the light's directly overhead pretty much. And we'll use some more blue. Maybe here we leave some white, some more blue there. Maybe some purple too. We use some purple there. Make it colorful. Have fun with this. Okay. More flesh tone for the arm. Like that. Maybe a little more red. Cadmium red. And then a little bit of the burnt umber and blue, and maybe some cerulean blue for the other side of the arm, which is in light. So the light's sort of on this side. On this side of the arm is a little bit of light, so you can leave a little bit of lighter cerulean blue over there, a little bit of cobalt blue, like that. And then we can also take some blue, cerulean blue, cobalt blue. Now I'm going to start mixing some green. I'm going to just do a little bit of blue, more cooler colors here in the background. But I'm just going to do a little bit of that here. So I want to get some of that mountain in the background a little bit here. A little bit of purple. There we go. So this is just a little more, you know, lighter. The mountains in the background here are a little bit lighter, purpley, bluish, cerulean blue, cobalt blue, purple. A little bit of raw umber, you know, mix some different colors here. Do a little more raw umber here. There we go. Maybe we'll start working in the mountains over here. So you can see I'm working around the painting. I'm not really focusing on one spot continuously. Let's move around the painting a little bit. When you're working on the figure and it needs to dry a little bit, we'll let that dry, the face and the arm and the hair and the hat, and then we'll start working over here on this section. So that's always a really good game plan if you can sort of work around the painting. So I'm always rinsing my brush, checking a little bit of water off on the tissue, getting some shadows in here. Maybe I'll put some shadow over here, so I'll bring that sort of in here, like that. Purple for the mountains here. Raw umber, green, a little bit of green, olive green. And again, I'm looking for lots of variation. Does that make sense? Making lots of variation in these mountain areas over here. That really looks good. It kind of looks interesting when we're looking at it and viewing it, that there's all different colors versus just mixing one color and painting the whole thing one color. So if you can add lots of color within your washes, you're really going to make it look exciting. And I'm going to add some blue now, cobalt blue. So I'm just going to add an interesting cobalt blue here. Like that. Maybe some more of that cobalt blue in here for the shadows. And some more of the shadowing here. Let's go under here maybe. And you can see I'm bringing in some of that background mountain color right into the dress for some shadow. Okay. Maybe a little more here. And I'll maybe go into the water a little bit. Maybe I'll pick up some cerulean blue and go into the water over here, like that. Here we go. French ultramarine blue. A little bit of splashing too. Don't forget to splash around a little bit. Make things interesting. And you can see I'm just working my colors, working those lines. You don't have to do as much as I'm doing. You can do, so you can minimize it, or make it more minimalistic. But I'm trying to get a little raw umber, cerulean blue. Make a little more shadow here, a little bit more shadowing on the dress a little bit over on this here, and then it kind of like that. Tap up a little bit maybe if you want to tap a little bit of paint off. Maybe a little bit of splashing. Cobalt blue. Green, maybe some viridian green. And then I just try to mix it around. If I use viridian green over here, let me add some over here too, and let me add it everywhere. So this way everything harmonizes together. You probably always hear me say that. Harmonize your colors together. So if you put viridian green, if you're working with maybe 5 or 6 colors and then all of a sudden you add another one, does this make sense? Just try to add it a little bit everywhere else. So now that I started in with some viridian green, well, let me put some over here. And you can see if I do it subtly like that, you're never going to really notice it, but you will see that it looks more. It looks better. It looks like the painting has sort of got a harmony to it because I'm using the same repeating colors everywhere in the painting. It has less of a blotchy look. And maybe a couple more splashes. We'll do the sky in a little while. So you can kind of see we're coming along pretty nicely. And let's take another break. Nothing wrong with taking breaks. If you start to work and then all of a sudden you're getting, maybe like you're questioning exactly what to do, perfect time to take a break. If you feel like you're not sure what to do next, take a break. Because watercolors, you can take a break anytime. You can stop at any time and not worry about it. You can just stop, take a break, step back, take 5-10 minutes, come back again, and then look at it and go, oh yeah, that's what I was working on, and oh, I see, I can actually do this or that. So you can always game plan. When you take breaks, you can game plan and come back in and look at your painting and start game planning again. Okay, I've just taken a break. Now what am I going to do next? And you might say, oh, okay, I've done a lot here. Maybe I can do a little more on the foreground here where the figure is, maybe a little more sand color, let's say, and then maybe I'll start doing a light wash in the sky and I'll be done. So this way we don't get kind of sidetracked on not knowing what we're doing. We're kind of looking at it, game planning. Okay, so we'll take a break, and then when we come back, we'll game plan a little bit. I'll talk through my analysis of what I'm going to start seeing now that I'm taking a break, coming back, looking at it, and we'll go from there. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, hey, we've taken a break and now we're coming back and we're excited. We're going to get started again. We feel refreshed after that nice break we took. I had a little bit of coffee and I'm ready to go here. And I'm getting started and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to game plan a little bit here. All right, I have my figure. The dress looks good. She looks fine. I have a nice hat. I changed around the arm a little bit because I was having problems with the angles of the arm and things like that when the arm was up on this side. So I just changed the arm around the other way. That's a little more simple way to do it, right? Taking the other arm and putting it on the hat like this on an angle. That's pretty simple. And then this arm just down here like this. So I felt that was a better way for me to draw this and paint this versus trying to do the other layout which we saw with the figure, the original figure that we saw on the cell phone picture. Okay, so now we're going to go back and get started here, and I've been using this brush the whole time, a number 4 Da Vinci Pure Kolinsky 1503 Germany watercolor brush. It's a travel brush. These are really nice. I take these with me when I go on weekend trips or whatever and do some traveling or on vacation. And they're just really nice. You can take them and you put them like this and you screw them together like that, and then you put them into your bag. You leave them. There's a little hole in the top for the air to dry. Then when you're ready to paint the next time, you just open it up, put it together like so, like that, and you have your brush. And then when you're done painting, you just do the same thing. You take it apart, put it in like that, close it up, and that's it. Travel brushes, these are great, and they're plastic, they're nice and light. These are made by, again, Da Vinci. Pure Kolinsky round brushes, travel brushes, and the model number is 1503 Germany, and it's again a number 4 round brush, great point on it. This one's a couple years old and still has a good point on it. Sometimes the points get worn down, but so we'll continue on here. This looks like we might be able to add a little bit more there because it looked a little funny, but that's kind of a little bit of a quick, looks better, kind of more flowing like that. That looks good, so I added a little bit of paint there. And we can always add some interesting darker darks, so maybe I'll add a little darker dark there. And a little bit of splashing. And I think let's do some sand maybe in the foreground, a little bit of sand here. Yellow ochre. Maybe a little bit of burnt umber in that French ultramarine blue. Mix it around. I'm just dragging my brush around a little bit of cerulean blue in there. Purple, a little bit of purple. So we're going to try to mix all the colors we've been using as we go. Then there might be some shadow, burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, green, a little bit of green here. Let's do some shadowing here, like that. A little bit of blue. A little bit of purple. Maybe a little bit of red too. Let's use some red. Try to mix some colors around. Don't feel like you just have to be like so rigid with what colors are wear, and you can add colors if you want that are maybe not there, but if you think it's going to make the painting look better, it might be good. That's your choice. There we go. So I'm going to add some different colors around. Like that. And some more red over here. Maybe some little bit of cadmium red in the hills. Here. Just a light bit of cadmium red, just so that we have harmony with the reds here. Light red, red in this flesh tones, red here and here and here. And if we can do that, and again you can add in some exciting bits of color here and there. Maybe some green. And again, if I use some chromium of oxide green, I will use it here too. So we're using lots of color. Maybe even some in the water. Some chromium of oxide in the water. There we go, a little bit in the dress too here, so we want to kind of get lots of color and everything. Okay, you can see I'm working in all the colors everywhere. Now I'm going to go with a larger brush, and let's finish up with the sky. And we also have to do the flesh tone of the arm here, so I'm going to dry off my brush. Start with some new flesh tone, cadmium red, burnt sienna, and a little bit of cerulean blue. And I just want to do the hand and the arm here. And that's looking good. A little bit of shadow color under here, maybe. Maybe a little more shadow under here. A bit of shadow under here. Then maybe we could do some darker darks here. Let's get a little bit of that. I dry off my brush, I rinse off my brush, dry it off on the tissue. Again, and always remember, whether you have a sponge next to your water bucket or you use a little bit of tissue or a little paper towel. I use my apron sometimes. I tap my brush on my apron that I wear. You have to keep your brush nice and dry when you're doing these details here, because you're just going to want to use like straight paint pretty much, and not much water at all. Does that make sense? You got to try to remember that when you're getting your darkest darks, you're going to want to use just pretty much straight paint, not much water. And this way you can really, you won't have a problem with capturing those beautiful darks you want. So here again, we're going to have some of that dark shadow under the hat, brim of the hat. And then we're going to try to get a little bit of an eye color, a little bit of an eye shape under there, a little bit we can have there, and then maybe a little bit of a shadow under the nose. Maybe we'll do a little bit of the chin here too. We're going to make the chin area. So this is the careful part. You want to kind of sculpt the face shapes really carefully and slowly. You just kind of go real slow. You'd rather build the, does this make sense? You'd rather kind of build the face out a little bit by adding some more chin and adding a little more nose to it. So you would diminish it and make it smaller, and then you can kind of add those shapes. Does that make sense? I'll kind of maybe show it on a piece of paper here, a little bit of what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm making sense, but so we have that there. There we go, that looks good. And then we do a dark over here. And I think that looks fine. I don't want to keep going and going and going. That looks good enough. Let me see if I can find some scrap paper here. Okay, so I found a piece of scrap paper here. I guess what I was trying to explain is, if you make the, let's say this is the hat, you can make the face smaller like this with the hair, like so. You can start off with the face being smaller, and then you let that dry. Like you saw how we did that first. We let the face dry for like a long time while we were working on everything else on the painting. And then once that dries 100%, then when you're going, and I'm going to do this now, but you like what I'm saying is you let this dry 100%. Then you can build out like some features, and you can kind of look at it and go, how does that look? Okay, there's the head there, and then maybe the nose, so you can build out the nose a little bit. And then build out the chin a little more. So you'd rather make the face a little smaller first, and then you can build out the nose and the chin like that. So you start off smaller, and then you can build it out a little bit, so to speak, like that, so that you, because if you go out too far in the beginning, then you have no room to fix up the nose a little bit or the chin a little bit. But if you make everything smaller and then you kind of build it out, you have an easier time doing faces like that, especially when you're doing like smaller figures like this. So this is not so much a portrait painting, but we do have a figure here with a face and arms and flesh tones and stuff, and we want to make that look good. I hope that's, I kind of made that kind of clear. Let me know if that makes sense. Adding to it works a little better than painting it first the whole way, and then if your proportions are off or something doesn't look right, like the nose looks funny or the chin looks funny or the forehead looks funny or the eyes look funny, then they don't look accurate, let's say, then you've already painted it far out, and then you really don't have any room to go out further, because then it would just look like not really, wouldn't look in the correct proportions of the body and the head and everything. So make your head smaller at first, and then you can build out your nose and your chin once everything is dry and you're more relaxed, and you can just focus on that one thing as you're doing the final touches to the painting. I hope that helps. So it's a little tidbit of information again here. We're just trying to make our lives easy here. So we did that. It looks pretty good. we are really in good shape here. All right, we're going to take one more break, I think, and then we'll go in and we'll do the sky. I hope you don't mind taking breaks. I love taking breaks. And hey, while I take breaks, I always want to say thank you, everyone, for leaving comments, for subscribing to my channel. I'm so happy you're here painting along with us all. And if you want to subscribe again so that you can follow along each week as we paint, you know, the subscribe button's right down there on the right-hand side. And if you hit the notifications bell too, that means you'll be notified on YouTube right away when our new video comes out. This way you can look at it right away, follow it along, see if you want to paint it, or if not, you just watch it, and then you can pick up next week or pick up on the next video that we do. Or you can even go back in the archives. They have hundreds of archive videos too. And I know many of you are looking back at those archives, and I think that's a great thing. I see a lot of your awesome comments. People are watching my videos from a year ago or 2 years ago, and they're having a fun time, and they're saying, hey, I love this one. And so I'm glad. They might not be as great quality-wise because I've been building up my quality with better camera, better lighting, better microphones. But some of those older videos that I did were really some of my best, I think, but the quality of the cameras, the equipment that I was using wasn't as good. So it might not be as pleasant to listen to and follow along with sometimes. But in any case, again, thanks so much for following along and subscribing, everybody. And I appreciate all the beautiful comments and well wishes and encouragement, and keeps me going. And we'll be right back. We're just going to take a break and we'll do the sky wash and we'll be finished. All right, hey, we're finishing up here. We're finally getting to the final phase of the painting here. We're going to do our sky wash, and I think we should be completed. So let's, as I was, again, taking a break and I came up to the painting and I started looking at it, I noticed maybe I can erase a couple of these lines over here on the dress, maybe, so that it helps to maybe have these lighter lights kind of flow into the dress here, this gown a little better. And maybe I'll erase a little bit there too. So you can always lift up a few lines here and there if you feel positive about that. I'm probably going to use a little bit of titanium white to do a couple touch-ups, I think. So we'll have that on the side just in case we need. Normally I would wash up the palette a little bit. I'm going to use my number 6 Raphael brush here. It's a little bit larger. For the sky wash, you can kind of see it's quite a bit larger than the number 4 travel brush Da Vinci Maestro. So we'll use the number 6 Raphael. I'm going to get fresh clean water, so I'm going to empty out my water bucket. You can kind of see it's a little bit murky. So let's get fresh clean water. For the sky, especially sky washes, you want to at least have the option of having really good fresh clean water. So I'll put in some fresh clean water. I use my OJ container here. So I have my orange juice container. It's like those plastic jugs. I can use that for my water. And I just fill it up when I need to and leave it in the studio. And then we have the water bucket. I have a large collapsible water bucket. This works good. I leave it right to the right here. And let's get started with the wash with the sky. So what I will do is take a little bit of water, fresh clean water, and just a little bit here and there, not everywhere. And just, you can see I'm just kind of flowing it on, a little spot here and there, not everywhere. This will give us a nice look of diffused colors and washes that are going to flow and look really light and flowing on the paper. And then there's other spots where the paper is drier, so that'll look good too. Splash a little bit of water on there. Now what I'll do here is, since we're looking to keep all the colors the same in this painting, I'm going to use all these colors and mix them all together. For the sky wash. For some of the wash, not all of it, but you'll see. Like that. Then I'll go in and get my blue, cerulean blue, cobalt blue. Cerulean blue. And I think I'll leave it a lighter sky. So maybe I'll lift up a little bit of this. You can use some tissue and give some effect of. Then I'll take paper towel, and then I'll clean up my palette up here so I can get some cleaner color. So we put our, our grayish color on there to get a little bit of that mix of all the colors within the painting into the sky. Then we'll go with some raw sienna maybe. A little bit of cerulean blue. Cadmium orange. I'll use some cadmium orange along the mountain here. Wow, is that easy or what? Look at that. And if you see something that looks unpleasant, blot it up. I might have added too much yellow or orange there. I did something, I'm not sure what happened there, but no problem. You can scrub around with your tissues and brush. Have fun with it. Don't be afraid of your paintings. The more you do this kind of stuff, scrubbing around like that, it looks good, actually. And it's a freeing experience, too. Just have fun, enjoy. You'll find that watercolor is a lot of fun. If you're just starting out, thank you for stopping by and joining along with us. If you're just starting out with watercolors and you haven't painted in a long time, you just stick here all the time, week after week, month after month, year after year, and you'll just continue to improve on your skills just by watching and practicing the same techniques and methods that we use here on this channel. And as you can see, we got a nice light wash in there for the sky. Blends in beautiful with all the colors here. I will take a little bit of this orange and yellow, raw sienna, and put a little bit in the water. And in the dress too, a little bit of yellow and orange and raw sienna in the dress. And I think that looks good. I'm not going to go with any really super darks, I don't think. I'll leave it more of a middle key painting. I'm not going to get super busy with any kind of darks, I think. There's some darks in there. Not many, though. And what can we do next? Just to touch up a little bit, we'll take some white, titanium white, with a little bit of yellow ochre. Mix that around. Could always put it in the palette too. Yellow ochre and titanium white. Almost like a nice, like off-white with like a yellowish, yellow ochre mixed with titanium white looks really good. It's kind of like a sunlight, warm white. And maybe here I'm going to put a little bit there. And then kind of blend that into the water. That was a little bit harsh, I think, over here with the dark along there. So you can kind of blend in a little bit of lights with some titanium white just to soften some areas. We'll do that there. A couple of splashes with titanium white. A few spots here, a few spots there, a couple in the sky. If you think you're nervous about the spots, they don't look great, when you do it, you just lift up with a paper towel or tissue, blot them up quick, and they come right up. So that's the fun about splashing. Hey, have you tried splashing? I've also got videos on splashing. If you just type in my name, Chris Petrie, splashing, you'll see I've got 3 or 4 videos on splashing technique. You can practice the technique and you can use it. And again, what the fun thing about splashing is if you splash on there, if it doesn't look good or you're nervous, you just take a quick tissue and blot up quick, and it comes right up, and you can barely see it. So splashing never hurts anything. It makes it look good, the painting. But if you do think you did too much splashing, you just lift it up, like so. And that's fine. So we have, I think, everything looking good. Maybe a little more shadowing Here we could just use a little more shadowing there. And what else can we do? I think this is pretty good. Maybe a little more, maybe we can make this a little more, not as like straight a line. Maybe we could make this gown a little more flowing here. Maybe we could add some of that. Maybe it flows over here a little more like that. I think that looks better. And we'll soften this out a little bit too. I see a little bit of pencil line over here. You can kind of sometimes use a little bit of titanium white to cover a pencil line or two if you find they're not. So I'm just kind of putting a little bit of pencil line there, here and there, covering over pencil line. But that looks pretty good, I think, overall. And I'm trying to think anything else. I think that looks fine. I hope everyone had fun with this. Please come back and join us again soon if you're new. Thanks so much for coming by. I'm happy you've made it here. Stick with us week by week, month by month, and year after year you will get better. You will create beautiful paintings before you know it. It's just a matter of watching, learning the techniques, the methods, and then whatever you find your favorite subject matter is, whether it's boats, seascapes, landscapes, figures, still life, whatever your favorite subject matter is, you just learn the techniques and the methods for each video we make. You'll see us using the same methods, the same techniques, learning the colors. You keep learning and hearing the same colors, memorizing your colors. You'll have a fantastic time at watercolor. It's really not that difficult. It's just a matter of putting in some practice, some time, and before you know it, you'll really be picking up some steam. And it really, every minute and every hour you put into your watercolors, you'll benefit, and you'll be an hour or a minute or a day or a week or a month better. So always remember that nothing is wasted. Every minute you put in, you're going to get some returns from it. Okay, we'll see you on the next video, and thanks again for coming by, and happy painting, everybody. Bye-bye.